Smile.
Yeah, we're good.
Ready? Okay. All right, the meeting's called to order here on Wednesday, the 1st of March, and we want to welcome our new member, Julie. I hope you'll be patient with me. I'm not a very, sometimes I say things that really aren't too good. Liz straightens me out.
I'll straighten you out.
We have no guests today, so approval of the minutes that are in your packet. Everybody have a chance to look at those. Need a motion?
I'll make a motion to
Need a
approve.
second?
I'll second.
So moved. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? So moved, Chad.
Okay.
Bruce, you have anything to report?
I'm good.
Timmy?
Nope.
Liz?
No.
Julie, do you want to say anything like? Okay. Chad, you have any unfinished business?
No, just one subdivision case if you want to do that.
Zoning appeal case, we have none, we don't have any.
No zoning cases this month. I will
Subdivision
point
plat.
out that if you remember, we had the large solar field that was going to go in the Deep Creek watershed. That was one of the community solars. It got turned down by the zoning board. I think that was March of last year. So you can't apply for the same case again until a year later. So I think we're coming up to the time when they could reapply for that. So I just kind of put that on everybody's radar that may come up again. And of course, it will come to the Planning Commission first to see if you want to make any recommendations about it. The last time the plan was pretty good, except for the landscape plan, and that was found to be deficient. And that's what the board said. You didn't provide enough information on the landscape buffer, so they denied it. So we'll just have to see what happens if they want to resubmit. So
That was the one down there by Brodax?
yes, yeah, the one back in kind of near Laurel Brook condominium. So
Yeah, I just saw one coming in here that I hadn't seen before. The one out behind the Southern Industrial Park. Is that on a farm or in the industrial park?
that's off Garrett Road.
Is that on a farm there?
Yes.
There's a
Yeah.
barn in the background, but I had not noticed it yet. It's a pretty big one.
Yeah, that's one of the community ones that are typically 14, 15 acres.
Okay.
And we're seeing a lot of those. We're getting calls
It's
about
not
it.
on Pierce Street, right?
Yeah, that one's not as
They're-
big.
They're
but that
working
one's
on it, yeah.
Yeah,
It's gonna power that whole complex
I
there.
believe so.
Is that what
Mm-hmm.
But we continue to get calls about solar all the time in our office. So we've got one plan. We're going to go ahead and do that subdivision. You got one?
I share mine.
This one is a major subdivision just because it's commercial. So minor subdivisions that I approve in the office, it says those are only residential. So this one is going to be a canine trading and boarding facility. There's really nothing else out of the ordinary. The driveway entrance application has been made. We're still waiting for final approval from County Road. So if you want to approve this, it would be contingent on that entrance approval. There's nothing really else, no other infrastructure that needs installed or anything like that.
Is this the state police, since you said that?
Maybe, I don't really know her very well. I've just been dealing with their engineer.
I think it is, I'm not sure. You have any concerns? You got concerns, do you?
No, this is one of those kind of technicalities that when it's a commercial lot, it comes before you guys, but otherwise it's pretty simple.
Motion?
I'll make a motion to approve it dependent on the approval of the entrance permit.
So moved.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? So moved, Chad.
Okay. The other item was typically we elect officers in March, a chairman, vice chairman, and secretary. So I don't know if we want to go ahead and do that right now. Jeff and the two Jeffs were the vice chairman and secretary right now. They're not here, so.
Vice Chair Jeff Donner,
Yes.
Yes.
and then the chair.
And Jeff
treasurer,
Messenger's the secretary and you're chairman. So I don't know if we have a motion to do that this month.
I'll make a motion because I think last week we talked to all three of the gentlemen and they agreed to move forward in the same position. So do we need to vote individually or should I just make a motion to?
I think you can make one motion and see how everybody.
Any
That
discussion,
we-
before you have any discussion, before we go that route? Lou, do you have any concerns? Bruce?
No?
Your first vote, right? Okay, Tim, go ahead.
I'll make a motion that, is it a motion or we vote?
You can make a motion to continue the three
Make a
people in
motion
their
that
current-
Tony Durr continue as director, right?
Chairman.
And Jeff Connor as vice chairman, and Jeff Messenger as secretary
Secretary, yeah.
for
Second.
another year.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? That's Chad might vote.
I don't get a vote.
You get over. All right. Anything else, Chad?
The only other thing I would bring up, I don't know if you're all aware that recreational cannabis was recently approved by the state on the ballot. So we're seeing that will eventually trickle down to the county. So I wanted to kind of put it on your radar. Of course, the majority of the county's not zoned, so there's no regulations about that. We do have zoning Deep Creek area and in the town, so we've kind of let them know they should be aware. I think right now, without any other direction, we would just treat that like any other retail use. You know, the ordinances talk about retail, so it's just going to be treated as retail. So we've kind of told the towns, you know, be aware of this. If you are opposed to this, or you feel like your citizens may be opposed, you may want to make special regulations that you would call that out as a separate use in the ordinance. We've not really heard much from people about it so far, but you know, I can imagine it being a controversial issue, so we try to anticipate that a little bit. If there were, in terms of amendments to the Deep Creek zoning ordinance, the Planning Commission has the power to, if you guys see something and you want to amend it, you can do that. We would also, if citizen groups come to us and say we don't want it in certain areas, that would come before you guys first. So I just want to kind of put it out there as something to be thinking about. So.
So you haven't been contacted by much, many two people? Or?
Not really. No, I mean, it's something that we were trying to be a little proactive of. We sent an email out to the towns.
Probably a good idea.
Just
You gotta get ahead of it before.
because once an application's made, you know, this came up a little bit in the past when I believe there were a few licenses that were sold. And I think they eventually went to Allegheny County, but there were companies coming around saying we want to do this as the medical marijuana, and we had told the towns, well, you know, it'd just be like CVS. We're not regulating pharmacy as a separate use. It would just be a retail use. So if you want to regulate that differently, you're going to have to come up with something in your ordinances. Otherwise, we'll just have to approve it. So
The company that came here originally was gonna buy there in accident. Grow West.
yeah, they looked at different
They're gonna buy
places.
the building, they're gonna- Right, and the neighbors got pretty heated up, and they decided not to go that route, and they ended up going down to Carmel.
Well, I don't think they've even done the regulation to go with the law yet. Like, the law takes effect July 1st. I don't think they even have their mechanism ready on how to award the license yet. I was on an advisory meeting with the governor's office about it. So, that's where they are.
Okay. Yeah, and Liz, you're also working with the Liquor Control Board, and it seems like that's where it's probably headed to be regulated. So you'll
Yes.
probably be aware of more
I mean,
details.
that's why we were talking about, I was joking about it, saying, how are they gonna regulate it? Is it gonna be like alcohol, where you have a certain percentage of?
I think they'll probably just change it from, you know, alcohol regulation or alcohol control boards to alcohol and cannabis.
But those are the types of issues that sometimes end up coming to you guys, because people will say,
Mhm.
why isn't this regulated, or we don't want regulations on it, so just
Yeah.
want to let you guys
See,
be thinking
my
about it.
concern with how they regulate it is, a lot of people, some of the bigger companies, you know, like some of these guys that are trying to get truck drivers or electricians or whatever, part of their process is drug testing. And they can't get people to pass the drug testing to hire them because of the marijuana use. So I guess what I'm saying is, where's that line gonna get crossed? Where is it gonna be acceptable, because marijuana stays in your system longer than alcohol, right? Is that correct to say that?
I'm not a
That's what
physician.
I've heard. I don't know, that's what I'm saying.
So I
But if
would
you're
say
doing
that.
testing to get a job, and that shows up in your bloodstream, you know, then you're not gonna get that job because of the rules. So a lot of these guys having to back off of those rules to get people to work for them.
Well, I mean, I don't know how much that will change once it's, you know, legal, what that really looks like. But part of the reason that I was involved in that is because they asked me to look at the expungement of the minor cannabis convictions, you know, and how we get rid of those going forward in the future. So that's kind of where my head was with it, but in that meeting that I was in, there was just so much about cannabis and, you know, equity that I didn't realize. It was very, very informative.
Well, it won't be the planning commission's role to figure out all that stuff. Luckily, it'll come down to us with land use. You know, should that place that sells it go in a certain place, that's where it will come into zoning or land use that you guys may be involved or getting questions in the community or something, or potentially something coming to us.
It actually probably puts it in tax, you know, income back in Allegheny County, just like the finally, the Rocky Gap actually turned a decent return for what it was when they first started, you know, I mean. Gotta look at it from that perspective too, we gotta supplement something somehow.
Yeah, and that's why I just wanted to put it out there for everybody to kind of be thinking about, and just in case it does come up. So.
I think it's quite an interesting thing, actually. I'm anxious to see how they do it.
But you said it's not confirmed, like how they're giving out
No,
licenses or how many or anything.
no, they passed the law, but now they have to do the regulation that
Yeah.
follows the law, and they're not there yet. They haven't done that part. So they're gonna have to kind of really push it to have it ready by July.
That tends to be true of a lot of state laws. You know, you see it come, and then we'll see it like, well, how in the world are we going to regulate that, or how's it really going to come into
Yeah.
play? So that can be a challenge.
I mean, I think they're, you know, looking at other states and how they've done it. Like in Connecticut, I think the license is almost $1 million. You know, they're very expensive, and there's a lot of commercial companies that come in, big companies, and try to, you know, get the licenses, as many as they can. So they're trying to figure out how that they can make it equal among the citizens
Yeah.
of Maryland to apply for it without having that issue. But in New York, like, they passed their law, their regulations, they're having huge issues with the implementation of the law and how expensive it is to get the license. So it kind of almost
Yeah.
made it that it doesn't really even work.
Yeah, that makes it kind of hard for people who want to like smaller farmers or
Mm-hmm.
smaller producers.
Yeah.
Anything else? Keep us informed about that, and
Okay.
get anything, shoot us an email, let us know where it's
Yep.
standing, as far as it's teed up or whatever. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I had.
Not the record meeting, but it's close.
Yes.
I hope you enjoy yourself with, I appreciate your input. That's what we want with somebody. We want people to talk about what they want to ask questions and what they're feeling about, right?
We definitely want you to be involved, you know, and to, you know, show up and give us your opinion on things and your.
I mean, I'll call on you. That's not gonna be a problem. It's like, I'm gonna ask you if you have an opinion, and hopefully you'll let us know you have an opinion.
Yeah.
All right, meeting next time, what, April?
Yes.